Hello and welcome back, everybody. Khamzat Chimaev takes on Nate Diaz this weekend, tomorrow night, UFC 279. And I'm very excited. I'm very excited for the main event, Chimaev versus Diaz. When it was first announced, I didn't really care for it, but now that we're getting closer to the time and I'm like building my predictions and everything in my mind, I am looking forward to the event a lot more. Let me just put my seat down slightly so I am more in shot. Anyway. Today I'm giving you my official prediction and breakdown of the main event. My last video, did very well. Got about 700 views. People were saying, giving mixed opinions. And I just want to say before this starts and before I give this quite brutal and honest prediction and breakdown, I love Nate Diaz. I genuinely love Nate Diaz. However, I think he's going to quit inside the octagon. And that you could take this however you want. I'm going to give you a few reasons and examples of how I think he could quit, and I'm going to do so right now, everybody. But first of all, don't forget to like and subscribe. Check out my vlogging channel, my second channel, in the description down below. I'd really appreciate that. Thank you all so much. I'm here to be a member of the MMA community as a fan, give my thoughts. If you guys don't agree, you can comment saying you don't agree. That's completely fine. I know there's a lot of Nate Diaz fans out there. I am one of them. However, I have to be brutally honest because I am making content and I have to give my thoughts. The first reason of how I think Diaz is going to quit, I said this in my last video, he's going to go out there, he's going to try and win in the first round in my opinion. Typically we see Diaz sit back, take a few shots, wear his opponent out, survive. You can't survive against a man like Chimaev. Gilbert Burns did. Fair play to him. Nate Diaz won't. Chimaev is too strong. He didn't want to go to the ground with Burns because of Burns' jiu-jitsu and strength. Diaz is not a threat to Chimaev. Chimaev's not overlooking him, however. He's going to go out there, his game plan won't work, and then I just think he's going to stop throwing punches, he's going to try and defend himself as best he can, but he's not going to try and win. You won't see him try and win. You won't see him try and pull something out the bag. I think he's going to sit back and maybe the referee will step in and just be like, look, you're literally not even trying anymore. You're done. Mentally, Diaz quits. Physically, he quits as well. He's not trying to win. And bear in mind, my last video, I brought up the fact that Diaz said, he quit preparing, beat me, motherfucker, beat me, and all this. Then I got a few comments saying Nick Diaz did the same thing. He was like, oh, beat me. Then he went out and won, something like that. Fair enough. That's completely understandable. However, look at the shape Nate Diaz is in coming into this. You'll see it. Google it. Nate Diaz body comparison, whatever. Maybe don't Google that. It's a bit weird, but you can see it. No abs. I think he's out of shape. Last time he was at 170 against Edwards, in shape. This time he's not that much in shape. Maybe it's just age. Maybe he's just getting older. Fair play. Whatever. Doesn't really matter. Shape means nothing in fighting. However, when you compare it, maybe he's put on a bit more weight for this fight, which would make a bit more sense. I think it'd be smarter to come in heavier for this fight. Maybe take a bit more of a beating. However, if you're not as in shape, you won't be able to withstand it how you usually can. I have full confidence Nate Diaz is able to survive, right? But then there's also another part of me that's like, there's not a chance he's going to survive. Because I'm putting things together, right? Masvidal came up from lightweight. Is still a relatively big welterweight. Has that power. Dropped Diaz a few times. Edwards just pieced him up. Edwards, he's got power, but he's more precise. He's more pinpoint. He's more tight with his shots. He picks and chooses his moments. And he was kind of toying with Diaz, right? Until the last 30 seconds. Here's what I'm about to say. McGregor, contrary to popular belief, I love Conor McGregor. Literally to my right-hand side, I've got a signed poster. I've got memorabilia of McGregor. McGregor's what got me into this sport. Massive McGregor fan. Contrary to popular belief, Conor McGregor's power does not translate from featherweight, right? He was very accurate at featherweight. He was big for featherweight. He was kind of had that like skinny body in a way. Do you know what I mean? Like he's got a very his torso isn't thick, but he's got very wide shoulders, can develop that power. People just have that power. Lightweight, he has power, but it's not nearly as evident. Welterweight, apart from Donald Cerrone, I don't even count that fight as an actual fight. That was literally nothing. Cerrone was not meant to be in there with McGregor. But anyway, he went out there and he did his thing, you know, against Diaz. He dropped him a few times. Diaz gets dropped, whatever. But that was more the accuracy, in my opinion. The shots were pinpoint, and also he was on wobbly legs the whole time because of the leg kicks. If they were calf kicks, that'd be a very different story, I think. I think Diaz hasn't really been calf kicked. I think Chimaev might come out there and try calf kick him if he doesn't try take him down. This brings me on to my second point of why Diaz will quit. And maybe not will quit, but why I think this could be a very... I'm going to put this out there. So if it happens, come back to this and say fair play to me. I think he'll just give up. I think he'll be getting battered. Maybe round 3 or 4 comes around. Chimaev is breathing a bit heavier. But Diaz, or maybe like round 2. I'm thinking this will happen early, because if it becomes late and Diaz notices him struggling, he'll be like, right, okay, maybe I can do this. Maybe round 2, close to the end of round 2, he's still getting battered. Literally, maybe the buzzer goes. End of round 2, Diaz goes, fuck this shit, I'm too real for it, motherfucker. I didn't want to fight this guy anyway. And just says, I'm not doing it. Let me out the cage. Let me out this fucking cage. Doesn't do an interview, just goes. Weird scenario all over the headlines tomorrow. Diaz quits. Diaz just walks out of the main event. And you could say, fuck it, fuck the UFC. I didn't want to fight this guy anyway. I deserve better than this and all this and that. I wasn't even trying and all this. Keeps up his reputation of kind of like that arsehole bad guy. And I think people are like thinking Diaz will just be so mentally tough and just not give a fuck. I think he's past that. I know I love Nate Diaz and it pains me to say it, but I think he does not care. He's never cared about the media. He's never cared about anything. You know, the Diaz brothers are known for not caring about the build-up and all this. I think he just doesn't mind anymore. He's rich now, you know what I mean? He's got that star power. He's starting his own fight promotion. God knows how someone with his intelligence will be able to do that. But it's alright. You know, it is what it is. That's what I'm saying. I think end of the second round comes. He's been battered for 2 rounds. Chimaev is going, woo! Or whatever, like laughing, having a laugh in his corner. And then Diaz just says, fuck this shit. I'm too real for the UFC. I'm motherfucker. I'm too real for this. I'm getting out of here. Well, like, I don't care. I wasn't trying anyway. Yeah. Or, I think, it'll be just, I think it could be very early. I think this fight could be stopped within 2 minutes of the very first round. Diaz kind of circling, kind of just throwing lazy jabs out there. Chimaev, single leg, takes him down. Single leg, drags him to the ground. Just a quick, like, leg drag to the ground. Then just hammer fist and punches, hammer fist and hammer fist. And Diaz is on his side up against the cage. Hammer fisting. Punch. Knee to the body. Punch. Then that's it. I truly think Diaz will be done in 2 minutes of the first round, and if not, he will quit inside of the cage. That is my final prediction. Those are my 3 scenarios I believe will happen. I think the third one is the most realistic, and that's saying something. You never, I think it's done mentally. I think you can say whatever you want about Diaz. You know, he's a gangster, mentally strong. Of course he is. There's something different though, guys. Like, please, I know you guys think, oh, you know, this is all an act. Completely fair enough if that's your opinion, but there is something different this time around about Nate Diaz. Maybe it's because it's his last fight, because he's had some bad things happen between him and the UFC. However, please, guys, just trust me on this. And I know you probably have no reason to trust me. I'm just a little tiny YouTube channel. You'll see.